Right. Good afternoon, and I'm going to be presenting on what our experiences have been in the University of Ghana Medical School with trying to develop e-learning material, and then the process of converting this to open educational resource. And the initial steps in getting this going was primarily because in my teaching with my medical students, I realized that as the classes grew larger, in our time when I was doing my OBGYN training, there were 4 of us on the rotation, and we could see every single thing that attendings did. And by the time I was teaching, there were about let's say 10 students, and now we're having almost close to 20 students at certain times, many of whom cannot even see what we demonstrate, especially in the OR. So I felt there was definitely the need to have some material that students could see in real time on their own. So I had this personal interest in developing the material, and then there was a connection between myself and Kari Engelberg, who's an internal medicine professor from the University of Michigan, who was coming to spend a year in Ghana on sabbatical. And we got talking, and he was also interested in developing open educational resource, and had actually developed an open course in Michigan. There was funding from the Ghana-Michigan Charter Collaboration, which came from the Gates Foundation, that enabled us to do some of this. And then there was also the consortium of universities in Africa that was brought together by OER Africa, where there's the University of Ghana, the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, University of Cape Town, and University of Western Cape, both in South Africa. So that's a list of the universities, and the OER Africa was funded by Hewlett-Packard. Also, Hewlett-Packard funded initiative and brought these different universities together to see how we could get either existing material to be converted to open educational resource, or how we could become developers of new material that can be made as open source material. Now, what are the things that we did? First, there was the need for our institutions to have a policy on open educational resource. We needed to go through the university statutes to see whether there was anything that limited us putting our teaching material out for open source, and then also to find which of our materials could be used as an open educational resource. Now, whilst we're doing this, working on the policies and also looking through the old material, due to the link between Kerry and myself, the thought was, why don't we just develop material that we know hasn't got any copyright on it? Things that we don't even have to get a Describe person, because we didn't have a Describe training system. Things that are our own material, and then put them out there. So we began to work on that and asking questions about, when we develop this material, how do we get them out to our students? And that's thinking of it at the e-learning stage, and then going beyond the e-learning stage, thinking of how we could get this material to become open source. And talking with OER Africa, the other question asked was that how can we, these 4 universities that were part of the OER group, recruit other universities onto this? And so that there'll be what's traditionally called the South-South collaboration, where we'll develop material and share amongst ourselves, and then having the link with an institution like University of Michigan, also have access to the University of Michigan material. And we've been developing materials as the time has gone on, and our dental school, we have a College of Health Sciences, and the University of Ghana Dental School actually has access to all the University of Michigan Dental School material, some of which is being used in lectures for the students, and the students have the direct access to the source, and that has definitely enhanced the training of these dental students in the University of Ghana Dental School, and also given greater visibility to the University of Michigan. And when you ask them where they'd like to go do their elective training, the first option is University of Michigan. Now, what are some of the things that we've produced from the University of Ghana? We've got case studies. There's one case study on sexually transmitted infections, and I'll do a small demo with that one. Then there are surgical procedures. We've got one on performing a total abdominal hysterectomy, one on performing a cesarean section, and one on how to perform and repair an episiotomy. Now, these ones were, they're all OBGYN stuff, but that's primarily because I'm an OBGYN myself, and I worked on developing those ones. And the top three, the case studies and the surgical procedures, we developed together with Kerry Engelberg when he was in Ghana. Then, after he left, he's gone back to the University of Michigan now. We have set up an e-learning and OER office, and we've come out with a clinical examination model in internal medicine, general surgery, OBGYN, and pediatrics, which, and the process of being used by our students. The OBGYN one we began to distribute to our students on disk. The medicine, surgery, and pediatrics one is going through the final editing phase. People are at different levels of hesitancy in getting their material out, even to their own students to have regular access to. But the interesting thing was that a student told me about how useful the medicine program was for preparing for her exam. And I was like, is it out? And she had her own smile, because students would find things if you keep it too long from them. So then we've got demonstration videos on anatomy and also on water processing for community health students. So the finalized material is computer-based, it's interactive, they have self-assessments, and can also be directly placed on the web, because we have in our mind the plan of these things becoming open resource. And the material that was developed with Kerry Engelberg with the first phase of the OER grant is actually out as open resource, being hosted by the OER Africa website. So this is the front page of the case studies on sexually transmitted infections. And okay, this doesn't show here, but then we have the Creative Commons license, like David talked about earlier on. And could you please click on this link? And this is just a demo of how this works, and then please click on the play. Yeah. So this is the front page, and the students the instructions are clear. They click there to view the program, and these are the different number of cases on the that the students can use, where you have a complete write-up of the case, and the student can read all through that case. There are pictures, there are questions, and depending on what answer the student gets from the question, the student could click on the answer and then would get some interaction from the program. There's a video in it. This thing hasn't actually got any audio, where the students would get a discussion of the particular case from the lecturer, and then they can go ahead and ask the questions. And the students can go through this any number of times on their own and get a better understanding of the subject. So this material was distributed to students on discs, but then the plan is that it would be later distributed on placed on a website that students can have access to. I think we'll just move on. Could you just stop it and then would go on? Yeah. Thanks. Uh-oh. Right. Now this is the one on C-section. That's the surgical procedure, and you can see the Creative Commons license here that we have on all our pages. And there's our university, the University of Michigan, and the names of those who put it together. And could you have a click on the link just to see the difference between this and the STI one. So here there is the same platform that this is on, but with this there's an explanation of the program. There are interactive case exercises, and then the whole procedure of the cesarean section is broken down into parts. Whereas students would normally just watch the whole procedure in the OR, they now have it in different parts, and clicking each link helps in being familiar with the procedure. There's a case a case report here, and students can get their questions on this. That student would click at whichever one they think is the answer, and then would get a response, an interactive response.